guys, it's Tim, and this is Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Monday, and tonight was Monday Night Raw. As far as tonight's Monday Night Raw does go, I thought it was a really good show. That was a fun show. I thought it was easy to watch, and I wouldn't say like some weeks where it just flies by, but I felt like it didn't feel, excuse me, I'm trying not to burp in the microphone, but I feel like it didn't feel long. Now, like I said, it didn't feel like last week's show that I thought was just scooted by really quickly, but it felt like a okay time. It didn't feel long, but it didn't feel short, and I don't know. There was some interesting stuff there as far as timing does go. Also, Luke, did you see there's an AEW wrestler in the crowd tonight?
Yep.
Yeah.
There was a skybox, actually.
Yep. Well, technically, it's still a crowd. They're in the audience. If you guys didn't see, freaking Matt Hardy and his wife were at Raw. Like, what? Now, we do know that he and AEW are negotiating on a new deal, and nothing has been confirmed or nothing has been accepted on his part or their part. And so, I don't know. Was Matt there to talk to Hunter? I don't want to start any rumors because I don't know. But his wife, Rebby, posted on TikTok that they were at the PNC Arena, which is in Raleigh, North Carolina, where they're from. So that's an interesting one. Why would a currently contracted AEW wrestler, like I could see, now this, take this out. Tamina, Naomi, and Bayley were all at AEW last week. They were there to support Mercedes, whatever. But who would Matt have been here to be supporting in a skybox like that? That's just so weird to me. You know, it's an odd one that they were there at the show in a skybox, or as it said on the thing, luxury suite. So I don't know.
I think it's more so that's like he's a former like WWE wrestler, so it's like, why not give him the skybox or something?
But that's the thing. Did WWE invite him, or did him and his wife just say, hey, they're in town, let's go? Because if WWE invited him, that's a whole other can of worms.
No, if WWE invited, that's contract tampering, technically.
Possibly, kind of, yes. So if he just said, Matt actually paid for tickets and went, okay, cool. So this is probably a nothing story, but it is something to kind of keep an eye on just in case. Because Matt's contract is up with AEW this week. Or not this week, this month. Well, actually, it might be this week. Sometime this month, either this week or next. And again, no word on a new deal. We know Jeff's contract had time added to it, so his is farther out. But then also, you had a Matt and Jeff Hardy, like, Cole said their names on the show. Matt and Jeff Hardy. So, yeah, well, overall, what did you think of Raw, though?
I mean, I thought Raw was pretty good. I mean, even though there's like nothing new announced for Mania, it was still a pretty good show because it was mainly just trying to like further build for like stuff that's already announced for Mania.
Right.
Which is actually pretty nice.
Yep. So with that, I want to say thank you for joining us here at twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you are watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel, one of two different ways. You can subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime, because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and you always get one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month. And all you got to do is take that Amazon Prime account, take that Twitch account, link them together, bada bing, bada boom, Prime Gaming. It doesn't have to be your Amazon account. It can be anybody's Amazon account, whether that's your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your grandma, your grandpa, your auntie, your uncle, anybody. Also, remember to head over to YouTube. Do some stuff for us over there, please. Hit that subscribe button. That way you know when we post new videos. That way you know when we go live. And that way you know when we post on the community tab. Also, remember to hit that join button to become a channel member. That's a great way to make sure that your comment, question, or concern does get read live on the air. And, well, no, join button, become a channel member to support the channel. Super chat in the live chat to get your comment, question, or concern read live on the air. And finally, head over to the Epic Games Store. Head over to the Epic Games Store and buy something. Whether you're buying a new game like Horizon Forbidden West, which is not new per se, but it's new to PC. Maybe you are getting a newer game like Expeditions of Mud Runner. There's a bunch of stuff on sale for their spring sale, or you're claiming the free games. Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, or The Bridge. Use this code right here. PW Unlimited at checkout, and you will be supporting us at no extra cost. Again, use code PWU NLIMITED for all Epic Games and Epic Game Store purchases. Excuse me. Now, as far as Raw does go, open up the show. They tell us that it's a sold-out crowd of over 14,000 people in Raleigh, North Carolina. I believe this is now the 9th televised WWE show in a row that is sold out. Last week's show, the SmackDown in Memphis, almost didn't sell out, but within that last couple of days, 4 or 5 days or so, they did get it to a sellout. And then tonight's show in Raleigh, another sellout with 14,000. And Jey Uso comes out, and Michael Cole tells us that this year at WrestleMania will be the third ever brother versus brother match at WrestleMania. We've had Brett versus Owen, Matt versus Jeff. He said their names specifically. And now Jay versus Jimmy. And Jay go for it.
Do you know what the interesting fact is about that?
No.
It's like every 15 years we're getting a brother versus brother match.
Oh, shit. I didn't even think about it like that. Well, no. Well, yeah, wait. Yeah. 15 years, you're right. I wasn't doing the math right. So, yeah. Dang. Now it's like who are we going to get in the next 15 years? I don't even know. Julius and Brutus Creed? Those are the only brothers. They're the only brothers I can think of. Are they
actually brothers?
I believe so.
Are they actually brothers?
I believe so.
Let me look that up.
I think they're real brothers. Hold on. This Casper. Or Jacob Casper. This. Yeah, they're real brothers. Jacob and Drew Casper.
That'd be a cool one.
Right?
If they're still with WWE, you could do them.
So, Jay gets a big reaction on his way out. I'm just going to say it. I feel like this segment was a little underwhelming because it was just kind of predictable and didn't really... Like, I'm hyped for the match because I think it could be a really fun match. It's not like a match I'm super looking forward to or anything. But I don't feel like this segment tonight really did anything new or anything else to further my interest in this match. I felt like they're just making sure we don't forget. That's really what this segment felt like. They were just making sure we don't forget that this match happens and that the Bloodline always has the numbers on their side. Which, talk about that a little bit later with the Cody Paul Heyman stuff. But yeah, I just felt a little underwhelmed with this segment. Like, it didn't do too much new for me as far as building my interest for the match. Not saying I don't want to see the match or I'm not interested at all. It's just like, I
mean, it's kind of the same stuff that they've been doing already with these two.
Right.
Like, they're going the whole route of like Jimmy's saying, like, kind of like, no, it was Jay kept saying, like, you were trying to be the older brother, you were trying to be the leader and stuff. I think that's what they've been saying.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that, and yeah, it's basically just the same stuff we have been hearing. And Jimmy ain't winning this match. I'm going to say right now, Jimmy ain't winning.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jay wins. So
yeah, Jay has to win.
Right off the rip, Jay goes, "Yeah, I know the Bloodline's here, so Jimmy, why don't you come out?" And I'm like, why the hell would the Bloodline be here anyways? But okay, whatever. So Jimmy and Solo come out through the crowd, and the crowd chants Uso. Jay told Jimmy that despite everything that's happened, quote, "I miss you, I do." Jay said that they don't see each other anymore, and he asked Jimmy to come back to him. Jimmy said that he never left him. He protected Jay, and it was Jay's idea to leave the Bloodline. Jimmy said that Jay went on to become the hottest star on Raw, the top merchandise seller and a tag team champion without him. Jay was able to do all of that because Jimmy protected him. The biggest moment of Jay's career came because of Jimmy. Jay said no, it didn't. Biggest moment of his career would be his dream match, WrestleMania 40, quote, "Me versus you, when I knock the yeet out your ass," end quote. Jay dropped Jimmy with the right hand, but a distraction by Solo Sikoa allowed Jimmy to knock down Jay with a super kick. Without music, out would run Cody Rhodes to make the save. He nailed Solo with a Cody cutter while wearing a fancy suit without the jacket. And then, yeah, he helped Jay to his feet. Jay's music played, and the bloodline retreated. So it was the okay opener, but it's just okay. Like I said, it was just okay and a little underwhelming because it's pretty predictable on exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I would say I almost said maybe not Cody, but once he's mentioned Cody, I was like, yeah, Cody's going to come out and make the save.
Like, who else? Like, I could see maybe Sammy, but Sammy's already been distanced away from the Jay stuff now with the Gunther Intercontinental title stuff. It was like Cody was the only one that would have made sense.
Right. I mean, maybe Seth, but
Right.
I think it's just more Cody.
We had a video package hyping up Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax tonight in our main event in a last woman standing match. Adam Pearce was having a heated conversation on the phone with Nick Aldis, it seems like, because he's like, you tell me to get control of my roster. Well, look what happened here tonight with your guys. And then Paul Heyman walks up, all somewhat disheveled, doesn't have a tie on or anything. And he was like, hey, just want to tell you the final boss didn't send them here. The head of the table didn't make the call for them to be here. But, you know, I'm here on official business. So I'll let you know that they already left the building. I got them out of here. I was delayed. I didn't get here when I was supposed to get here. You can see I don't even have my tie on, but yeah. And Pierce was just like, okay, I know why you're here. So just no other funny business. Don't let anything else happen tonight on your watch or whatever. And he's just like, you got it. Call Roman Reigns. And he walks off. So, yeah, he basically was just like, hey, no more funny business. I'm here to do something official. You know why I'm here. Here we go. But I liked that like, they didn't have to do this segment, but it was kind of nice that they told us, hey, Paul Heyman's in the building. Just be mindful that that could play into something later.
Oh yeah, I really like Paul's role in this. Like I'm just here for business. I'm not trying to do anything stupid or anything.
Like he said like he says later to Cody, you know I'm not a physical threat. I was like, hey, yeah. The movie,
unless he's got Jimmy and Solo with him.
Well, he said Jimmy and Solo had already been told to leave, so they left, so they weren't there. We get our first match of the night. It's the first of 3 qualifying matches for the WrestleMania 6-pack ladder match for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. This match goes 18 and a half minutes. It's, as Michael Cole said, DIY against the Creed brothers. Michael Cole out here so hyped up, he can't even remember how to say their name right. DIY, not DYI. Anyways, not much happens early on in the match until both members of DIY, Gargano and Ciampa, or as Truth calls them, Shawn Michaels and Triple H, hit dives to go to a commercial break. Come back for the break. Brutus tossed around DIY before Julius joined in on a double team on Ciampa. Julius then did an impressive spot where he got Ciampa in a vertical suplex from a kneeled position. It's a delayed vertical suplex. Brutus also gives one to Johnny as well. Then they did standing moonsaults to both opponents and only got a 2 off of it. Gargano then saved Ciampa from a Brutus ball, but Brutus slammed Gargano before tackling Ciampa over the announce desk. After another commercial break, Ciampa hit a reverse DDT and made the tag to Gargano, who ran wild on both Creeds. Ciampa hit Julius with a second rope air raid crash before a near fall. Julius and Ciampa then exchanged strikes until Julius put him in an ankle lock. Gargano then tried to make the save, but Julius, with one arm, just grabs him, flips him up for a power bomb. I'm like, what the shit was that? This man is strong as hell. Now, granted, maybe Johnny helped a little with that flipping himself up, but still. He's got the ankle lock in this hand, and he's flipping him up with this. What the shit? Go for it.
Have you seen like the Creed brothers like workout videos on their like social medias?
Not recent. I've seen a couple in the past.
Those are nuts.
Yeah, one or two. I've only seen a couple of them. The one or two I've seen. Like I saw. So I've seen One of the ones with Ivy Nile, which is really crazy too. Like they've done some crazy ones with her too.
Like they're doing like upside down push-ups. They're putting like 45-pound weights
Right.
on their back. I'm like, Jesus. I think Jordan Grace tried like imitating those and like she failed miserably.
Oh, I don't know.
Because I'm pretty sure like she made like a video trying to like imitate those type of workouts and like she failed miserably.
Gotcha. Let me see. So he does the powerbomb with one arm. The Creeds then put both of their opponents in ankle locks, but Gargano and Ciampa reverse it into the Sicilian stretch and the Gargano escape. The Creeds did fight out and picked up each member of the DIY, and then from basically a fireman's carry position, they threw them at each other in midair. They crashed. Oh, damn. Julius and Brutus then each hit Ciampa with a moonsault, which led to another near fall. They set it for another Brutus ball, but Ciampa slipped out and applied a cradle. Brutus broke up the pin, so Gargano checked him from the ring. Julius then had a cradle applied, but Gargano super kicked him. Ciampa reversed it and got a pinfall of his own. 1, 2, 3. DIY have qualified for the ladder match for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania. Honestly, this could have gone either way. I'm happy, maybe slightly happier that it's DIY, but I wouldn't have been disappointed if it was the Creeds. Because as we've seen in NXT, Creeds have had some good ladder match action in the past.
Honestly, I feel like if the Creeds won, I kind of would have been a little disappointed because I think DIY would have done a lot better in this ladder match.
Well, I mean, we're going to get that big Regeneration X spot because we know Awesome Truth's also going to be in this match. So they're going to do something at WrestleMania, and Truth's probably going to yell, Regeneration X!
I think they need to do this one because Johnny and Ciampa, they haven't done a Mania yet, and
right.
They need to be doing a Mania.
Also, I didn't realize these guys have been in WWE for 10 years. It's been that long already.
Well, Johnny took time off, actually.
Not much, not even a full year.
But yeah, still, they've been in WWE since 2015.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Well, also,
yeah, they were in NXT. They were in NXT for a long time.
I didn't even realize that 2015 is that far away. Like, we're already in 2024. Like, Jesus Christ. Thinking back to the prime era of black and gold NXT, it doesn't seem like it's that long ago. Like, the Johnny Ciampa feud doesn't feel like it's 7-8 years ago or whenever it was, you know?
Yeah, you're making me feel so old. Like, God.
Yeah. Like, Ciampa.
I remember watching that. I was like,
Ciampa was NXT champion for the first time 5 years ago. Like, it's just crazy to think. He faced Johnny, I think they also 5 years ago in 2018 is when they had their big takeover match, or one of their big takeover matches.
Well, I think I want to say like 2019, I would say. They were supposed to go to the main roster, but Johnny said no.
Well, that was a whole thing. Them, Aleister Black, and it was 2019. It was them, Aleister Black, or Ricochet. And no, it wasn't Johnny. It was Ciampa didn't want to work the main roster schedule. Is what it was.
And Johnny said that he didn't want to go to the main roster yet because he still wanted to do more in NXT.
Okay, that I didn't hear. I just heard that Ciampa didn't want to do the main roster schedule, and so they were like, fine, you're just going to be a staple of NXT. That could have really hurt his WWE career doing that, saying, I don't want to work the main roster schedule, and then that could have just slotted him, you know, but hey, Triple H got control, brought him to the... Actually, no, Vince brought him to the main roster, if you think about it, because he came up and did the Miz stuff when Vince was still in charge. So, yeah. But overall, this is go for it.
Yeah, because Triple H, he wasn't really in charge whenever Ciampa went up to the main roster. So he didn't really have any say. I think it was mainly Vince that brought him up.
Yep, and teamed him with The Miz, which is still super weird to think about.
Hey, at least he used him, though. I mean...
True.
I mean, I could have thought of some worse things that Vince could have done with Ciampa, considering, like, his size.
Yeah, he could have brought him up and then just, like, beat him every week, but
or brought him up and like changed his name.
that's another thing. But honestly, I feel like him getting hurt during that run helped him, because then he was gone for a little while, and then Triple H brought him back as the Tommaso Ciampa we know and love. But this match, super fun, super good. I thought this match, honestly, I didn't think this match could have been any better. It was like a perfect tag match between these four guys. Moving forward, Andrade was in the back with Judgment Day. They noted that Andrade has a match next week, and they don't just offer spots in Judgment Day to anybody. They're going to be watching his match closely. And then Andrade looked at Damian Priest, who walked up. Priest was like, a little low. And then Andrade said something to Damian before he walked off, but I didn't catch what it was. And then in an interesting move here, so I've heard some stuff that after WrestleMania, we may see the split of Judgment Day, but it's not what people have been talking about. It may not just be everyone keeps saying, oh, Damian Priest is going to split off from Judgment Day, go babyface, and go on his own. What I've heard is they could do a split of Judgment Day where it's Finn and JD, and on the other side, it's Dom and Priest. And if you see recently, and it was very evident tonight, they've been splitting the two little teams up, kind of like where you always see Finn and JD standing on one side of the room and Dom and Priest are standing on the other side. And it was the most prominent I've seen tonight. So I don't know if that's the route we get to, but that is an idea that's been pushed around, that there's going to be there could be an implosion within Judgment Day, and it ends up with those two teams against each other after they drop the tag titles, which probably coming at Mania. But Priest talked down to JD kind of for losing last week and not beating Ricochet or beating anybody in the gauntlet match. Priest said that Ricochet made a fool of JD. Triple H said, don't worry about it. Dom is going to make an example of Ricochet tonight. Dom was like, wait, what? I'm going to what? And they're like, yeah, you're going to fight Ricochet tonight and you're going to beat him. And he was like, oh, okay. So, yeah, we got Dom versus Ricochet later on in the night. They then gave us not really the announcement because they told us this last week, but Thunderbolt Patterson going into the WWE Hall of Fame. Then we got Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell against Caden Carter and Katana Chance. Now, earlier when you said Vince could have used Ciampa in like bad ways because of his size, it just, every time you see Caden Carter in a tag match and she can barely reach over the top rope to tag in, it's wild to think that she's that short. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's literally like on her tippy toes, reaching over the top rope to get tagged in. I'm like, damn, once she's in the ring going, you forget she's that short, but she's pretty dang short. How tall is she? Hold on. Katana Chance height. So she's 5 foot exactly.
Yeah, that's actually really short.
My mom's 4'10". She's 2 inches shorter than that. And it's like, it doesn't feel like it's that short, but it really is, I guess. As far as the matches go, it only went 2 minutes. And basically, they're building up Candice LeRae as a heartless bitch who don't care about nobody but herself and Indy. Like, that's exactly what this is. And I'm all for it. I love it.
I really like this. It reminds me of one of those tag teams where one person's trying to turn heel and the other one doesn't want to be heel.
Yeah. So
kind of like that Swerve and Keith Lee, like Swerve in Our Glory. Swerve was wanting to turn heel. Keith Lee didn't want to turn heel.
Right. So basically, they're going. It's Katana Chance and Indy Hartwell going at it. Katana Chance lands awkwardly on her leg, falls in the corner, and you think she's got a knee injury. Indy tries to go at her, and the ref pushes Indy back. We're checking on her and everything, and Candice is like, tag me in. So Indy tags her in. She runs right over to Katana Chance. She baseball slides Caden Carter out of the way. She beats the shit out of Katana Chance and then pins her in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. So yeah. Make Candice LeRae, like I said, basically just a heartless bitch who don't care about nobody but her and Indy. And I love it.
I really wonder whenever they're gonna do the part where Indy Hartwell's gonna be like, all right, I'll do whatever Candace says. Kind of like be the heel as well.
Yeah, because they've got the thing where after the match, Candace went over to Indy and raised her arm up, and Indy just looked at her like, why did you do that? Like, what? But no, I'm all for this. I think they've needed to do something with Candice LeRae for a while, and this might actually be perfect. 'Cause we've seen her as a heel before, and it was great.
I think she's one of those wrestlers where she's great both as heel and babyface.
Oh yeah, she could do everything. Like Tommaso Ciampa, he could do both ways. So good.
I think Ciampa's better as a heel, though.
I can see that. And never mind. So
no, but like, have you seen his stuff in NXT? Like, people hated him when he was a heel.
Ciampa's a great heel, but he's also okay. I take that back. Then he's a great heel on his own, but him and Johnny as a babyface tag team is phenomenal. How about I say that?
Yes, he's great as a tag team with. He's great as a babyface when he's teaming with Johnny, but like when he's by himself, I think he's better as a heel.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You're right.
Could you imagine if we ever got heel DIY?
Well, that'd be interesting. I've seen a heel Johnny Gargano on the Indies. It was pretty good.
And heel Johnny for The Way.
That was more tweener, where they were just like, they were kind of heels, but they were not really. I don't know if The Way was actually.
No, he was a heel.
I thought he was a heel. You think The Way were full heel?
They were goofy heels, though.
Yeah, see, that's why I don't call them like full, just super bad guy heels like Ciampa was.
Do you think Johnny had that? I also think Johnny had that like short heel stint whenever he was feuding with Aleister Black and Ricochet.
Maybe a little bit, but not. I have to go back and see because I vaguely remember that. Like, I remember the matches, but I'm not remembering like his character at the time.
I know his thing with whenever he was feuding with Aleister Black, he was like you got in the way of what I was trying to achieve.
Right.
And that's why he turned heel.
Michael Edwards, there's no Simeon here. Anyways, I just remember at NXT, every time he'd have a takeover match, everyone loved him because he just had the greatest matches at takeovers all the time. So
he also had that like special like takeover vests. Do you think we'll see like a special DIY vest for Mania?
I want them to come out in freaking DX themed gear and have a DX entrance at WrestleMania. That's what I want.
I can't remember last time Johnny had like special gear. The last time I can think of was last year for Chamber, not this year. It was last year for Chamber. He had that like Bluey inspired gear.
Heck yeah, Bluey.
Because that's Quill's favorite show.
Hey, Bluey's awesome. But no, I would love for them to get a DX themed entrance for WrestleMania because of all the truth references.
I don't know if they actually use the theme song. Maybe they just use their DIY theme, but have like DX, like a DX vest and stuff.
Yeah, I can see it. Or like the DIY graphics on the screen, but in black and green.
Kind of, yeah.
Then we get clips of The Rock's concert from last week's SmackDown, and they tell us coming up next is Cody Rhodes. Before Cody, we get a new trailer for the Bray Wyatt documentary coming on Peacock in 2 weeks. This one actually showed his brother Bo Dallas. What's up?
No, like when Bo came out, I honestly thought it was a Bo teaser
for the show. Yeah,
I thought it was actually like a Bo teaser trailer or something.
Yeah, at first I was like, "Ooh, what is? Oh, I know what this is." Because then he said something about my brother, and I was like, "Oh," because it's a different trailer than they put on social media that we hadn't seen. So that's why I was just like, "But I get you. I get you being a little confused at first. I was slightly as well, and then I realized once he started talking, I was like, "Oh, okay." Because when he started walking up, I was like, "Wait, what?" And then he said, "My brother," this and that. I'm like, "Okay, I get it." I can't wait for this documentary. Apparently, it's 2 hours long, and are we gonna cry when we watch this?
I almost cried when I heard the news that Bray passed away.
Oh, I know, same here. But I'm saying, like, we're gonna watch this documentary, cry, because there's gonna be interviews from his family, interviews from wrestlers, never before seen footage of him in and out of the ring. Like, apparently, this thing is awesome. We don't know many details on it. No one's really said anything other than one guy that does documentary stuff for WWE, like the A&E biographies and a couple other things, said that it was a pleasure to work on and it is a great 2-hour watch. But we know Bo Dallas was interviewed for it, Hulk Hogan was interviewed for it, John Cena was interviewed for it, Alexa Bliss, Seth Rollins, his wife, his fiance, almost wife, JoJo Offerman. He passed away right before they were supposed to actually get married. But
I don't understand how Hulk Hogan fits in all that.
I don't know. They throw Hogan on anything they can documentary wise. I swear to God, if it's Hogan wearing the blue T-shirt and the blue bandana, that's the same interview set we've seen for years. Because every time you watch a A&E biography for the Legends series and Hogan is in it, it's literally Hogan from like the same sit-down interview that he did from whenever back in the day, where he's always wearing the same blue shirt and blue bandana in the same room. So it's like, what the shit? But yeah, this is going to be awesome. It comes out in 2 weeks from today. And yeah. Messi says, will LA Knight be in the documentary? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, they only had the one program. They only had the one program together. So I don't know if he would fit really. I mean, he did have his last match. Now, the coolest part of all this, now this whole thing is awesome that we're getting it, but it's narrated by Mark the Undertaker Calloway.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, Undertaker narrated the documentary. I don't know how much there's going to be on the side of narration. Like, I don't know how much that role is going to be heard, but it's just cool that the Undertaker did that. You know what else was cool? Actually badass. This goddamn Cody Rhodes segment. This was so good. I loved this. So Rhodes says he would have a conversation of sorts with Roman Reigns on Friday, but first he needs to talk about The Rock. Rhodes talked about The Rock's Instagram post where he called himself our favorite heel. Rhodes said, not to get into the weeds and break fourth wall, heel means bad guy. And The Rock was a bad guy. He's like, but you're not a heel, you're an asshole. Well, actually, he said, quote, Rock, I don't think you're a heel. I think you're an asshole. He said heel.
That is actually
Go for it.
That's actually the first time I've heard like a wrestler actually say heel on WWE program.
I've heard it. Stone Cold said it in the past.
I mean, to me though, because I don't think they're really supposed to say like you're the heel or you're the baby face.
Right. I've heard Stone Cold use the term in the past on programming, and not just like his interviews, but go for it.
Because really, those are like, to me, I always looked at those as like, those are fan terms. Those are terms that fans use.
Well, but you use those in the business. Like if you watch any, and I mean any of the Stone Cold session interviews, he says baby and heel at least 10 times in each one. Austin uses those terms so much when talking about the business.
I know one word that wrestlers hate hearing from fans is botch.
Yeah, that's true.
I know Chris Jericho said how much he hated it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for heels and babyface, though, like, I know they'll say in interviews, like, were you supposed to turn heel? And they understand what that means and stuff. But, like, to me, I just didn't think that wrestlers were actually, like, allowed to say it, though, like, on WWE programming.
Hey, with this Rock and Cody stuff, we're supposed to think that this is real. So why not use the real terms? He says... Right. Cody says that he knows some real heels like Bobby Heenan, Billy Graham, Arn Anderson, Michael Hayes, and Ric Flair. And again, he said, quote, Rock, I don't think you're a heel. I think you're an asshole. Rhodes didn't want Rock to have his $7 team get upset by that. And cut to Twitter really fast because Brian Gewirtz actually responded. So, well, actually, no. Did I take it back? This is for the final boss line. I'll read that here in a second then, actually. The Brian Gewirtz tweet. He said, I don't want your $7 team to get upset by me calling you the heel. Rock mocked him for getting emotional last week, but Rock was the one crying behind the scenes this entire time. He said Rock cried to his buddies on the TKO board. Rock thought that he would get great PR for WWE until he wasn't. The board was filled with yes people, which is why they initially agreed with The Rock. They weren't going to tell The Rock the truth, but Rhodes says he would. Rhodes admitted he had tennis shoes with The Rock's logo on them, and then Rock was on his wrestling Mount Rushmore. But Rock was now I don't know what this word I wrote is. Anyways, he said he said something about The Rock and then said, if you don't know what that means, it means whiny bitch. Oh, so I think the word that he said, I wrote it weird because I didn't know how to spell it, and that's why it's like confusing me. But he said basically The Rock's a whiny bitch. He said, The Rock brought up my mother, which is fair game, and I know your mother. He said something about, your mom helped me chop Kevin Owens at a house show one time. Rock threatened Rhodes' mom with what he would do to him, but his mom wouldn't be afraid of The Rock, he said. He says she beat up an undercover cop at a Willie Nelson concert and would not be afraid of you. Rhodes said The Rock should respect Seth Rollins because he's carried Rock's company. Rhodes had no idea if their tag match would be a fair fight, and he didn't know if he would finish his story. But Rhodes wondered how Rock could be so sure of himself. He hasn't been in the ring for years. He hasn't been able to go bell to bell. He wondered if he's bringing that big Dwayne energy or some LDS, little dick syndrome. Rhodes said that Rock called himself, quote, the final boss, and credited Brian Gewirtz for coming up with that line. Rock wouldn't be the final boss of WrestleMania. He's just Reigns' side chick. And this is where Brian Gewirtz then tweets out, quote, final boss isn't anything I came up with. The Rock calls himself that because he is that. If it makes you feel better, Cody Rhodes, I was the first to tell him about you specifically. Your spectacularly stupid, goofy ass dog. So now Brian Gewirtz trying to get in on it too on social media. Before we get to the Heyman stuff, what did you think of Cody's, I guess you could say, rebuttal to The Rock?
I thought it was pretty good. I really did. The one thing that fans took out of anything else Cody said was little dick syndrome.
Oh yeah.
I think that's going to be used a lot in this program. Like with The Rock and Cody.
The main lines that stood out with me, Rock, I don't think you're a heel. I think you're a whiny bitch. Or no, I think you're an asshole. I'm calling him a whiny bitch, and then the little dick syndrome. That's what really stood out to me. But there's something else that stood out to me once Heyman came out. Heyman interrupts. He apologized for his dumb plan to use off-duty NYPD officers last time. Rhodes says that he didn't ask for an apology and invited Heyman to get into the ring. Heyman got up on the apron and said, nah, I'm good here. Heyman said that he had a message from Reigns. Heyman admitted to not being a trustworthy person, but Reigns was a man of his word. Heyman assured Rhodes that when they go face-to-face this Friday on SmackDown, there'll be no other Bloodline members except for himself in the building, or at least by Roman's side. And he said no other current Bloodline members. If I heard that correctly, current Bloodline members. That be a sign that we're getting a new member of the Bloodline this Friday?
Jacob Fatu.
Maybe. Some said Tama Tonga. I hope not. I hope he gets paired with Gallows and Anderson. But what if someone like a Jacob Fatu or a Lance Anoa'i shows up on Friday to help Roman against Cody?
Which one is Umaga's son?
Oh, he's like new. I don't even know his name.
It's like I know his last name on the Indies is Fatu.
Well, yeah, that's their real last name. Zilla Fatu.
Yeah, Zilla. He's not ready for WWE yet.
No. He's only been training for not even a year and a half. But
he left Booker T's wrestling school early.
He's gone back to continuous training. At least that's what the word was about a month or so ago. But yeah, so Heyman said no current members of the Bloodline will be at Roman's side. So does that mean that we can, that we can be getting a new member of the Bloodline on Friday? We know that Tama Tonga is reportedly coming into the company. We know that Booker T is actively pushing for the company to sign Jacob Fatu.
I thought that was Rikishi.
No, Booker T's pushing for them to sign Jacob Fatu.
But wasn't Rikishi also trying to convince Fatu to go WWE?
Maybe.
I thought I heard something about that.
But I know Booker's like in the last 2 to 3 months has been like, someone needs to give Jacob Fatu a chance, and I think he needs a chance in WWE. But we'll see if what I'm thinking here is right. Maybe I just heard it wrong, or maybe I'm just overthinking it. So Rose says he's good with that. Go for it.
Is Fatu booked for anything like coming up?
I don't know.
I don't know. Probably check.
I know he's a free agent.
He's a free agent, so he can go anywhere. But
Right.
I don't know if he's actually booked for like anything coming up.
I can tell you right now. Go to his Twitter.
That's the interesting part. If he's not, then it would have to be Fatu.
So March 23rd, this weekend, he might be doing the GCW show. No, never mind. He's just promoting that. Oh, no, he is. Him and Zilla are working the GCW show this weekend. But we know WWE's kind of cool with GCW right now.
Hey, I mean,
he's also working a show in April for PCW Ultra.
unless if they sign him, they can make an agreement with like you can finish up the rest of your bookings, but then once you're done, you're coming to us full time.
Yeah, and that's what Triple H has done in the past with NXT guys, where he's like, "Hey, we'll let you finish out your commitments, and then you're full time with us." But as of right now, he's working April 12th, PCW Ultra in Los Angeles, and then this weekend they're going to be him and Zilla are working a tag match for GCW in Detroit, no, Rochester, New York. No, wait.
I know Triple H is.
Where he's working 2 shows this weekend, one in Rochester and one in Detroit, both for GCW.
I know Triple H did the same thing for Karrion Kross because when he brought Karrion Kross back to the company, they had Karrion Kross finish up his commitments. Right. Then he went to WWE full time again.
Yep. So as far as no current members of the Bloodline being there with Roman, Rhodes said that he's good with that. Heyman then says, "Well, I forgot to mention one thing. You need to come alone as well." Well, first, he's like, "I forgot to mention one thing." And the crowd kind of goes, "Ooh." And he goes, "Don't ooh me." And Cody goes, "All right, hurry along with it or I'm going to rip your throat out Homelander style." I thought that was funny. And then Heyman's like, "You come alone as well. If the tribal chief is going to be alone, except for with me there, and I'm not a physical threat, you come alone." And Cody's like, "You got it." And they shook hands, and Heyman left pleased. Heyman had that diabolical Paul Heyman smirk on his face, like, got one on over this guy. So I think they're trying to work one fancy schmancy thing over on Cody, and it's not going to be just Roman and Cody. I think someone else is showing up on Friday. It ain't Dwayne, but Dwayne's not booked for the show.
I mean, yeah, I hope it's not Tama Tonga. I mean, the only person I can think of is probably Jacob Fatu.
Either Jacob or Lance Anoa'i.
Didn't they sign Lance? Didn't they sign Lance or
no? He worked a squash match back in the day for the company, and then they referenced him being Roman's family, but they've never signed him. No.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be Tama Tonga either because I kind of want him to like do like stuff with like the OC.
I want to see him come in, join the Gallows and Anderson, and then have him feud with AJ after WrestleMania. Cool. So really wait till after Mania to bring him in.
I mean, I have no clue. I know I said this in the past. I have no clue when Tonga Loa's deal's up. I really want Guerrillas of Destiny in WWE.
Right? No, that'd be so cool. Give me
especially with Triple H in charge now.
right. No,
Oh, just imagine.
It'd be great is when Eric is finally cleared to return. Eric and Ivar versus Grills of Destiny. You seen their matches back in the day in New Japan? Oh my god.
What if you had Grills of Destiny like become heels and they join AJ?
That would work too.
Like heel AJ and Grills of Destiny.
Do you think they're gonna join Carl and Gallows because Tama and Carl are so close, and then nope, shift the narrative and he turns on Carl? That'd be an interesting one.
Be like, you thought I was gonna come here and be all buddy with you? Like, you left me in Japan so you can come here?
Or maybe they're buddy for a while till Tama Tonga can come. I don't know. I don't know if Tama Tonga wants to come. He's been in WWE before and he was Camacho. So we'll see.
Yeah, but it's like a whole different person now.
Right. Whole different person,
maybe
new person in charge that gets it. So
maybe it's like my brother's there, so maybe he just wants to team with his brother.
Right.
And plus, I don't really know what New Japan would do with him, really.
Throw him. I guess he'd be like the third. Well, he can do some stuff on his own, or they can throw him in with Hikuleo and Phantasma and make him like a 3-man unit.
Yeah.
I know a year ago, WWE was also interested in bringing in Hikuleo.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that.
WWE, Vince took back over and said, we're not hiring anybody. That's why Jay White went to AEW, because WWE basically ghosted him. Vince is just like, we're not hiring anybody till the sales official.
Wasn't that just like a Fightful like term that they made up, like the hiring freeze?
So, sorta. So they weren't against bringing people in, but Vince didn't want to sign too many new people to the company because he didn't want to be, what's the word I'm looking for, spending too much before the sale and make it look like, oh, these people just like to spend. It was a whole thing. Like, it wasn't an official hiring freeze, but Vince was very like, hey, we can't be just signing a bunch right now, where we can't be spending a lot till the sale's over, so it looks better on us and it looks like we're a better deal for whoever gets us. And then they get screwed in the end by freaking Endeavor, because Endeavor basically got the company for free.
Kind of, yeah.
So Nia Jax, go for
it. I wouldn't say they got screwed completely.
I mean, Vince said this company's worth $9 billion, and Endeavor took over the company with no money being exchanged. So take it how you want.
I don't really know how all that stuff works anyway, so like, I'm not really
right
like an investor or anything, so I mean, Vince made money out of it because he bought the company back in the day for like $2 million.
Yeah, no. Vince bought the company for dirt cheap compared to what it's worth now. Same thing with WCW. He bought WCW. Well, no. So he bought the original company. He bought WWF from his father for $1 million. He bought WCW for $2 million, which, oh my God, they could have sold WCW for so much more. But literally, Time Warner was just like, we don't even want this thing. We'll give it to you for pennies.
Yeah.
That's how much they wanted to get rid of it.
And then WWE made that money back in like a year or two.
Oh, yeah, easily. So,
like they're still making money off their video footage.
Oh, yeah. We go to the back. Nia Jax said that Becky Lynch has never beaten her and never will. Jax would break her face again and take her spot at WrestleMania before finishing her business with Rhea Ripley. Jax plans on becoming the champion here shortly. Jey Uso then approached Cody Rhodes and was basically like, you sure you don't need, you want me to come with you on Friday? You know it's never one-on-one with the Bloodline. And Cody's like, no, I gotta honor my word. I said I'm gonna come alone. I'm gonna come alone. And Jay's like, all right, but if you need me, let me know. They also did the same thing later with Seth. He's just like, you sure you're gonna do this alone? Like, they're really playing up that Cody's getting attacked by somebody that's not Roman. That Cody's gonna be, you know, overpowered, and there's going to be more than just Roman there. They're really playing that up. Because he had two people now, Jay and Seth, go, you sure you're going to go alone. So I think something's happening on Friday that's not just Seth or Cody, Roman, and Heyman standing there with the belts over his shoulders. That's what Heyman said. He goes, I'm no physical threat. I just stand there with the title on my shoulder. Moving forward in a 7.5-minute match, it was Ricochet against Dominic Mysterio with JD McDonough at ringside. They wrestled around for about a minute. Dom was in control, and we go to a break. Come back, and Ricochet hit an X Factor for a 2. Dom tried 3 Amigos, but Ricochet reversed the second suplex into a suplex of his own. Dom avoided a splash, but Ricochet super kicked him and knocked McDonough off the apron. Dom tried to use the distraction to hit a 619, but Ricochet ducked it and hit a recoil for the pin. McDonough then tried to attack Ricochet afterwards, but Ricochet got away. Not much there. Half of this match took place during the break. And yeah, it's a fun, cool little TV match between Dom and Ricochet. Any thoughts?
I mean, it was a fun match. I don't know how long this will last. I'm sure this was probably just a one-time thing.
Yeah. It was more of like we see with Judgment Day. Somebody loses to a member. So we've seen this a lot with Judgment Day recently. Somebody beats the Judgment Day, and then they tell somebody else, go make an example of them. Show them what Judgment Day is really about, and then they lose too. So it's kind of just the norm for Judgment Day. Then we got a very interesting segment. Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. Sami approaches Gable in the back. Zayn called last week's match an honor. Said he hasn't been pushed like that in a long time in the ring, which is weird because he's had matches with Nakamura and McIntyre recently that seemed like, they were just as intense. Anyways, Gable kind of just missed it. It was like, yeah, it was great, whatever. Sami's like, something bothering you? Like, what's up? And Gable's like, it's okay. No, don't worry about it. And Zayn's like, no, what's up? And he's like, last week meant more to me than it meant to you. He's like, excuse me? He's like, you think you're doing this for your family? I got a family at home too. My child hates to see me lose. And Gable's like, you don't get it, do you? I don't think you can beat Gunther. And I'm just like, oh snap. What the shit? Okay then. I don't know if I don't know what that was supposed to be meant for. Is it just to hype up Sami? Does he think Sami needs a dose of reality? I don't know. But yeah, he's like, you can't beat Gunther. I'm like, okay then. It was good though. Both men were very good in their deliveries here. Sami playing the whole, hey, what's your beef, bro? And Gable just being the blunt, you don't get it, do you? This guy is not what you think he is. He is more intimidating, more damning, more just, you can't beat him. So I thought this was really, really good. What'd you think?
Oh, yeah. This was pretty good. I mean, it's basically just Gable's role is like, you can't beat him. But honestly, the whole Gable stuff of him saying you can't beat him makes me feel like the Sami actually might beat Gunther.
Oh, I think Sami is beating Gunther for sure. So here's my question about Gable, though. Was this Gable saying you can't beat him because Gable's an ass and is like, you beat me, but yeah, there's no way you could, like, not an ass, that's maybe the wrong term, but is it Gable just being like, you ain't good enough to beat Gunther, or is it Gable trying to light a fire under Sami's ass?
Or maybe it's just like Gable saying, like, I've been in the ring with him.
Right.
And I know what he's like, and you can't beat him.
Yeah, yeah.
And then maybe what if Sami does win? And
so you don't think
Gable
you don't think Gable was doing it as like a prick or anything to Sami?
No, I think it's just him saying, like, I've been in the ring with him, so I know what it's like, and I don't think you can beat him.
Gotcha. Because you can take it a couple of different ways. It can be interpreted a few different ways.
And then, like, let's say Sami does beat him, and then next time on Raw, like, Sami celebrating, then Gable comes out, turns heel, and just attacks Sami.
So I think what's going to happen, I've said this for a couple of weeks now, especially since last week, I think Sami wins the title at Mania, and then Chad Gable gets a match with Gunther and beats him. Because Gable's thing is, I need to beat you because you made my daughter cry. But he's changed his narrative of, I'm going to take the title from you. Because at first it was, You made my daughter cry. I'm going to work my way back up to get a shot at the Intercontinental Championship and beat you. But now it's just been flat out, I just need to beat you. Not anything to do with the title. So I think that's where that goes.
I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on this because I really don't want Gunther to lose the belt quite yet.
I mean, it's been 647 days, maybe, something like that, they said.
Yeah, but I kind of want him to defend the belt at Berlin.
Heck, if we're going to be honest, I want him to challenge for the world title in Berlin. Maybe even win it in Berlin. So, yeah, get the Intercontinental title off of him first.
Him versus Drew for the belt?
Yeah. How badass would that match be in Berlin?
I know, like...
And let him beat Drew.
So here's my thing on, like, Gunther and the whole, like, Berlin thing. So there's 50-50 of fans saying that they want him to fight for the world title in Berlin. And some people are saying they want him versus Dragunov in Berlin.
I mean, both would be great. Him and Drew or him and Dragunov. Both matches would be awesome.
If it was him versus Dragunov, fans would go nuts.
Yeah.
Have him main event, him defending the IC title against Dragunov, and Dragunov wins.
Okay. I still see Dragunov probably being in NXT then. Like, you really think Tony D'Angelo beats him for the NXT title at TakeOver? Or not TakeOver, but Stand and Deliver?
Nah, that's really just to give him an opponent.
So when's Berlin? August?
August, and they have Heat Wave in July.
Then the day after Money in the Bank.
And I'm sure they might have another NXT show before that, like Battleground maybe.
Trying to think if they've announced anything. No, they haven't yet. They've only announced April is... So, no, I don't think there will be a June because they do usually with NXT, they do every other month for the big pay-per-view style show. So if we get April with Stand and Deliver, well, no. Maybe end of May. I feel like they may have announced something. NXT May. I feel like they might have. Yeah, Battleground. May 26th, 2024.
Maybe they do him versus Trick Williams at Battleground.
Honestly, I think they fumbled the bag, and Trick versus Mello at Stand and Deliver should have been for the title. Mello should have beat Trick a couple of weeks ago for the belt instead of setting up that goofy match with him and D'Angelo. And then Trick and what they really needed to do was have Trick beat Mello at Stand and Deliver for the NXT Championship. You know how nuts that crowd would have gone?
Right, but hey, maybe they still wanted to drag off to NXT longer because maybe they're like, hey, Mello's going to go up to the main roster after Mania. Braun Breaker's already a main roster guy.
Well, I mean, you don't have to send Dragunov to the main roster once you take the title off of him. You can have him lose the belt and then try to get it back.
Right, but like once Dragunov goes back up, or once Dragunov officially does go up to the main roster, who are you gonna have in NXT now? Just Trick, and then like Lexus King.
Yeah, I don't know who the top guys like. I think Dragunov's there for maybe another year. Now, I think Gallows Anderson are in NXT for a reason, and maybe that top guy, maybe the top heel becomes Tama Tonga in NXT for a little bit. I mean, there's got to be a reason why they sent Gallows Anderson back down there.
Right,
and it could be Tama Tonga. Tama Tonga is the big heel. I would love that.
I mean, I also think Trick Williams will probably be in NXT for like another year, though.
Well, yeah, Trick is the baby face. Tama Tonga is the heel. That'd actually be a pretty good match.
Yeah, they're probably going to have Trick just be like their big baby face for like a year.
Yeah, he needs a little more time before coming to the main roster. He's good, but I don't think he's main roster great yet or ready.
I mean, fans already love him. Like, I think his character is already established, but he needs to like hype up his name more.
Yep.
They need to test this out, see how long the fans will love him for before they put him onto the main roster.
I mean, they're chanting for him on the main roster shows, and he's not even on.
Right.
So,
but I don't know. Like, it's really hard to see who the next like top guy in NXT will be once Dragunov is gone.
yeah, it is a tough thing to look at because it's like they're pushing Tony D, and it's like, I don't know about that one.
I've never been a big Tony D guy.
I felt like the gimmick is fine, but it's kind of like holding him back a little bit.
I think the gimmick is just too silly.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
I can't even take the gimmick seriously. Joe Gacy, then like
as somebody that has Italian mob in my family, the gimmick's just too over the top because that's not how actual people in the Italian mob actually act. Trust me, I know. My mom's got an uncle and some cousins who are in the mob.
Like his character is mainly just like that Italian like mob thing you'd see on like movies and TV shows.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the damn Sopranos.
Right. And like who else? Dijak. Dijak's contract's up this summer. He might not even be in WWE much longer.
I can see him sticking around if they're using him like this. Like the way they're using him in NXT, I can see him sticking around.
Did you see that tweet of that one fan telling him not to do that dive off the cage anymore?
Yeah.
And he basically responded, "Don't tell me what to do in the ring," because back when I was T-Bar, there's like so many times where I've looked at my phone asking to be released.
Right.
So and like this is the only freedom I get.
So moving forward, we have the Intercontinental Championship contract signing. Why do we need a contract signing if Sammy's already named the #1 contender for winning the gauntlet match? The reasoning for doing contract signings in wrestling have always been kind of weird to me, but whatever. Both men come out.
I mean, unless it's just like a regular rivalry thing, that's the only reason. But if you're already naming someone the #1 contender,
exactly,
that's the thing that gets me off.
Like my whole thing is when you do a contract signing, there's got to be more than just he's the #1 contender, you're the champion, there we go. You got to be like adding a stip, or maybe like it's two guys that have already fought before, and so you got to put in there like, oh, these guys are fighting again, but this is gonna happen if this. I don't know. There's got to be a reason, and it's like Sammy was already named the #1 contender. You already gave us the graphic. So what if Gunther didn't sign the contract? You got to pull that graphic off of Twitter. Like, that's the thing.
Right.
You already made the match official. Anyways, so the two guys come out. Gunther in a suit. Sammy dressed in just Sammy clothes. Zayn said that Gunther's smug smile was starting to piss him off. Zayn knew Gunther didn't think he could beat him. Zayn said that people didn't think he would even make it to the WWE, let alone win championships or even main event at WrestleMania as he's done. He ended the longest tag team reign in history last year and would end the longest IC title reign this year, which I never put two and two together before that, but actually that'd be pretty badass. You end the longest tag title reign and then end the longest IC title reign 2 years in a row. Yeah, I like that. I didn't even think about that, but I like that thing, like that thought process of Sammy being the one to do that. So now it's like Roman gonna hold that title for over 2,000 days and then have Sammy beat him, just so he can get that one too.
Nah.
But no, I'm just joking. Sammy then signs
Cody's winning that belt.
Yeah,
he has to.
Sammy signs the contract and the crowd cheers. Gunther then told Sammy, "Listen to what Gable told you. The fans might love you, but they even know you can't beat me." Gunther didn't think that Zayn even believes in himself. Zayn received the beating of a lifetime on the grandest stage of them all, and all of his dreams would meet the reality that Gunther is going to beat him. Gunther signs the contract and goes to walk away, and he basically is like, "I see it in your eyes. You don't believe in yourself." And as Gunther's getting ready to get out of the ring, Sammy says, "Wait a minute." He goes, "Look into my eyes again and tell me you don't see it." And Gunther kind of smirks like, "There we go. There's the fire I wanted to see." Then we get a really badass little shot here. We get a one shot, as we call it in the biz, where Sammy gets out of the ring and the camera follows him all the way to the back through Gorilla into the back, and then it stops on Awesome Truth and DIY. They then talk for a second. Awesome Truth then sees Indus Sure, and then we follow Awesome Truth back out into the arena area, all in one shot. Also, my camera froze. Give me 1 second. But yeah, this was really, really cool. They did this one shot kind of deal here. There we go. I'm back. So I liked this a lot. So what did you think of Sammy Gunther? I'm interested in the whole. Everyone feels like they gotta hype Sammy up.
I mean, this was definitely hyping him up, but
so what? Everyone's just telling us Sammy doesn't even believe in himself. Now Sammy's got to find his inner what? Inner fortitude.
I think the whole thing is like Chad Gable and Gunther are both saying you can't. Like Gable saying you can't beat Gunther, and Gunther saying like you can't beat me. And then Sammy's like, I think the whole thing is they're trying to play the role of like it's getting to Sammy's head, so
right.
He's getting like frustrated about it.
So we get a 3-minute match. It's the second qualifying match for the ladder match for the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championships. It's R-Truth and The Miz, the Awesome Truth, against Indus Sure. Match only goes 3 minutes, and literally Truth fell into this victory. So Truth started off the match with Sangha. Beat him up. He flexed. They beat up The Miz. Made a hot tag to Truth. Truth did the Cena comeback on Veer. Truth then tried to do the STF, but Sangha broke it up. Miz and Truth then hit Sangha with a double drop kick before giving Veer a skull-crushing finale flatliner combo. Sangha then shoved Miz to the ropes, and Miz dropped him a haul with a drop kick. Truth then tried to go after Sangha, but Sangha elbowed him. He then fell backwards on Veer. 1, 2, 3, accidentally picked up the win. So, as I said, fell into victory here and into the ladder match at WrestleMania.
I like this crowd is gonna be nuts at Mania for Awesome Truth.
Oh, they better win the tag titles. If Truth's not at the top of that ladder pulling down these belts, it's a missed opportunity. Awesome Truth needs to win the tag titles.
I was kind of hoping for their like old like Awesome Truth their old Awesome Truth entrance, which I mean kind of was, but like
yeah,
their heel one hilarious,
right? So we get
telling people like you suck and stuff like you suck,
right?
Now that's what's up. Like that was hilarious.
So we get more Sami Zayn. He confronts Chad Gable in the back. He wanted to know why Gable thought he couldn't beat Gunther. Gable said it's just a physical game with Gunther, nothing mental. Or no, it wasn't just a physical game with Gunther, it's also mental. Zayn made a career of being the underdog that crawls out of the hole that anybody puts him in. He finds the window of opportunity, but that doesn't happen with Gunther. Gunther is a different kind of animal, and Zayn has never faced anybody mentally or physically like him before. Chad says again, I don't think you can win. So, yeah. Basically, they're telling us Sami Zayn's beating Gunther for the title. You're not going to tell us 3 times in a 30-minute span that this guy can't beat Gunther if he's not winning the belt at WrestleMania. So then, I see you got something pondering in your head there.
I mean, so personally, I have no issue with Sammy beating Gunther.
Right.
My whole thing is like kind of like the same thing for Roman. Whoever like beats like Gunther for the belt, it needs to be someone who would like actually benefit from it. Like don't get me wrong, Sammy, he would benefit from it, but like Sammy's already like a well-established name to where like I feel like he doesn't need it.
True, I can understand that.
Like I feel like it should be like I wouldn't say a new guy, but like someone who hasn't done much and they could really like benefit from it.
Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker would be a good one. Fun fact, Gunther's last match in NXT was against Braun Breaker.
Yep.
That should have been a takeover match, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Like I was super against like Gunther like losing to Braun Breaker like that. Like the way he did.
It's whatever. He came to the main roster and he's killed it.
Right, but
Most people don't even remember it anyways.
I still do.
That's why I said most. So Drew McIntyre makes go for it.
The only reason why most people don't really remember it because I it's also been a while ago, and I think people are trying. That was like during the 2.0 era. I think people are trying to forget about that era.
True. So Drew McIntyre makes his way out to the ring. Before he gets halfway down the ramp, Seth Rollins also comes out as well. Rollins pranced down to the ring and ignored McIntyre on his way. Rollins apologized to Drew and claimed, "I didn't see you there." Rollins said that he was busy soaking up the spotlight, and McIntyre wanted him to enjoy it because the spotlight would be his after Mania. Rollins thought that McIntyre was stupid and had said a lot of dumb things over the last few weeks, but he had to admit that something McIntyre said was correct. Rollins raised his arm in the air and said, "My name is Seth freaking Rollins, and I'm a spotlight junkie." McIntyre called himself a parody of himself. The only thing McIntyre cared about was their match and the punchline, which would be him beating Rollins at WrestleMania. Rollins said that it wasn't a joke when he called himself a spotlight junkie. He's been doing this for 20 years, but the feeling when he goes through the curtain and onto the stage is the same every single time. The crowd sings the song, and he said that was the fix that he craved. Rollins said that he would make the Bloodline his bitches on night 1 and then take out Drew and steal the spotlight on night 2. So even though we knew it, this does confirm their match is night 2, even though we already knew that.
Yeah.
So McIntyre also...
I honestly wonder what the night 1 and night 2 cards are going to look like.
Well, I mean, we only know 2 matches for night 2 and 1 for night 1. Now, Logan Paul did kind of say something about he's working April 7th, so I believe his triple threat match is night 2. He said something about I'll be in the... He did an interview or something. I didn't really catch the whole thing, but he said something about I'm going to be working WrestleMania on April 7th, which is night 2.
Well, then for night 1, then I feel like night 1 they should do the ladder match on night 1.
Yeah, because you have both world title matches on night 2.
Yeah, do the ladder match on night 1. Do you do both women's matches on night 1 as well?
No, you do one on night 1 and one on night 2.
Okay, so maybe do the ladder match on night 1. Maybe do Io versus Bayley on night 1 as well.
Honestly, I would open night 1 with the ladder match.
Yeah, just get it out of the way.
Well, no. What match do you think they've got that's going to really... Because I think you got to get a really big match to open up the card to hype up that crowd. So I think night 1 should open with the ladder match, and night 2 should open with Seth and Drew. That's my opinion.
I could see it. Then maybe night 1 you also do Gunther versus Sammy.
If the IC title match or if the US title match is night 2, then yeah, split those as well.
And then LA Knight and AJ would probably be night 1 as well.
Jimmy and Jay, what would you do, 1 or 2? That's a tough one. I think that would work on either night.
I mean, it would honestly work either night. It wouldn't matter because Roman's working both nights.
Right, but this is a separate issue. Like I'm not tying this in as a bloodline thing though.
Right.
Honestly, no. Now, if the Cody Roman match on night 2 is going to be bloodline rules, then I want Jimmy and Jay to work night 2, because then you may think, oh, well, they've already had a match. They're tired from their match. They're not going to get involved. And then when they do get involved, you go, oh, okay. But I think maybe put Jimmy and Jay night 2. Just to make you think, oh, they've already worked. They've already done their stuff. They're not going to get involved later. And then they do get involved. Like maybe Jay beats Jimmy, and then Jimmy tries to get involved to help Roman, and Jay stops him. Something like that, maybe.
Right. I always feel like they for night 1, ever since they've done like night 1, night 2 manias, I feel like they don't really stack night 1 enough.
I could see where you're
I feel
coming
like
from.
I feel like they always overstack night 2 and they never stack night 1 like hard enough.
Well, if you think about it, night 2 is considered the bigger night because in the end, they say, oh, the night 1 main event, the night 2 main event. But in the actuality, whatever main event's night 2 is the official, true, real main event of WrestleMania.
Right.
That's why night 2, which is the Sunday, is always considered the bigger night, in my opinion, at least. Also, do you think we get a celebrity match? Whether it's announced ahead of time or not, like last year where it wasn't? Like the Shane McMahon thing or the Pat McAfee Miz match?
I don't know. I honestly feel like we might get like a Jade Cargill like skit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. I think we get Jade and Nia. And we could probably also see Bianca and Naomi against, if they're cleared, Kabuki Warriors for the tag titles.
I can see it.
Because Naomi...
Do you do it on the main show?
Yeah.
Or do you do it on the...
I feel like I don't think they're going to do... We didn't get any pre-show matches last year, so I don't think we get any pre-show matches this year. But if you look at SmackDown last week, Naomi came out to help Bayley, and Damage Control laid her out. So she did that thing with Bianca where it's like Bianca likes her, but Bianca's always like, oh, Bayley's getting what she deserves. So maybe she comes to the aid of Naomi, and then we get Naomi and her challenging for the tag titles. I don't know. But back to the Seth Drew thing.
I mean,
go for it.
It's the only thing Bianca hasn't done yet is win the tag titles.
Mm-hmm.
She's done everything else almost.
Exactly. So Rollins said that McIntyre was also a spotlight junkie. McIntyre wanted the spotlight and wanted his moment because when he won at WrestleMania a few years ago, it was in an empty warehouse. McIntyre then fumbled the ball when he had the chance. Rollins shined brightest when the lights were on, and at WrestleMania, McIntyre would find out why he wasn't as good as he thought. So it was a good segment. I thought these two, every time they come face to face and talk and whatnot, they're always really good together. Becky Lynch then said that she's just a few weeks away from WrestleMania, and yes, she's risking it all tonight, but that doesn't matter to her. All she knew was taking risks and fighting, because she would be the last woman standing. Then they did like a face-to-face with her and Liv. Then they told us, in 2 weeks, April 1st, Brooklyn, New York, The Rock is coming to Raw. This will be the first Raw that The Rock is on, since January 1st? That's the only Raw he did, right? So far?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Day one.
That
was the one where they said a WWE, like former WWE champion would be returning.
Well,
and then
they didn't even say it. They put it out within the dirt sheets to then circulate the rumor of, hey, WWE says that a former, well, sort of. And then Triple H did kind of tweet about it. Everyone thought it was Andrade, and then it was The Rock. I did like the way.
No, everyone thought first it was Jinder Mahal.
Well, no. Before Raw even went on the air, people thought it was going to be Andrade. Because you can take former WWE champion a couple different ways, whether that is a quote WWE championship champion or a champion that's won a belt in WWE. So that's why a lot of people are like, ooh, maybe this is where Andrade debuts or returns. And then they brought out Jinder and everyone was confused as shit.
No, they brought Jinder. People were disappointed. Some people were laughing like, ha, you thought.
Yeah.
Like type thing, but yeah.
So moving forward, we got our final qualifying match of the night for the ladder match. The New Day against Otis and Akira Tozawa. And boy, did Pat McAfee lose his mind when Otis basically belly bumped the head of Xavier Woods. He lost his mind when he's like, Woods got bellied. Get in my belly.
I want my back ribs.
So Otis and Kingston started it off before Woods and Tozawa started it off before quickly tagging in Otis and Kingston. Otis then hit Kingston with the back elbow and knocked Woods down the clothesline. He slammed Kingston and hit a caterpillar for a 2. Otis missed a splash, but Tozawa made the tag and hit Kingston with the flying crossbody for a 2. Woods then tagged in, hit a tornado DDT for yet another 2. Tozawa then brought Woods down off the top rope with the Hurricane Rana and followed this up with a diving senton, but Kingston broke up the pin. Kingston then gave Otis a tornado DDT outside the ring. Tozawa tried a Hurricane Rana, but Woods blocked it and hit a spinning sit-out powerbomb. Woods would then follow this up with a flying elbow almost all the way across the ring and pinned him to qualify for the ladder match at WrestleMania. So, officially in the ladder match thus far, the defending champions, the Judgment Day, DIY, the Awesome Truth, and the New Day. What'd you think of this match? I thought it was 9 minutes or so. It was just a fun, quick, 9 to 9.5. It was just a fun, quick, interesting, good TV match.
It was longer than expected. I'll say that.
True.
I thought it was gonna be like 3 or 4 minutes, but it was.
Well, I expect at least 5 or 6 because the other two, other than the Truth one, that was like a whatever. The first one, the DIY Creeds match, went almost 20 minutes.
Yeah, but this match I thought was gonna be like pretty fast considering they had Tozawa in this match.
Well, that, and then when I saw the time, like what time it was, I was like, oh, we're getting close to when this main event needs to start happening, you know? And so, speaking of that, before the main event, they tell us a couple of things. They tell us that next week, CM Punk will be on the show and Ricochet will go one-on-one with JD McDonough. They acknowledge that Becky Lynch actually visited the White House and said that she passed her test to become a United States citizen. That's cool.
She already was, unless she only had a visa.
I mean, technically she's good to go because she's married to Seth. So she didn't need to get her citizenship. But hey, she wants to get it, she wants to get it. Good on her.
Yeah, because technically you don't really need to get it if you're already like married to a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, that's like my mom. She was born in Italy and then married my dad, and she's never gonna have to worry about getting deported. But I think with Becky, it could be different with the whole. Well, no. Maybe she got it for work visa purposes. I don't fully know. I just know that she should be good to go. I mean, like I said, I know this because of my mom. She's never had a problem working in the United States. She never had a problem living in the United States. She married my dad when she was 18. They were boyfriend, girlfriend in senior year of high school. And once they graduated, they got married. But regardless, cool for Becky to get her citizenship.
I remember back in the day for TNA, back when they had Grado, they did this whole skit of like Grado might get deported.
I remember
and
that.
Then they did the part where he was trying to marry Chelsea Green to be a U.S. citizen, but then when he found out that she was Canadian, they're like, "Oh, I can't marry her anymore."
Yeah, I remember that. So that was so funny.
And then they had Chelsea Green go back to her like old like messy like bride thing.
Palpatine says, in case they divorce, I guess. I mean, yeah, but no one's thinking about that while they're married.
Right.
Then we go to our main events. Last woman standing. Becky Lynch, Nia Jax. Match goes about 19 minutes. The match started with a full 20 minutes left in the show, so we knew that this match was just going to steamroll through the end. Pat McAfee said various weapons are going to be used and were used during the break because this match went to a break about 2 minutes in. He said they used a kendo stick and a book. Lynch was setting up a table after the break. She had some trouble setting up the table. And I don't know if maybe she actually had trouble or she was just stalling for time. But Jax eventually came over and knocked her down. Jackson set up the table, but the legs on one side gave out. So I think maybe she was actually having trouble. I don't know. They didn't even use that table anyways. Jax chucked a bunch of chairs in the ring and gave Lynch a Samoan drop on the pile of chairs. The ref started to count, but Becky got to her feet. Lynch followed this up with the bulldog onto the chairs. Lynch tried something off the top, but Jax hit her in the gut with a chair. Becky was down. The ref was counting, but she wasn't out. So Nia went and grabbed some kendo sticks, threw them in the ring, hit her a couple times with the kendo sticks, body slammed her on a chair, and then give her a leg drop on the chair as well. Jax positioned a chair over Lynch's body like she was going to sit on her so she couldn't get up, but Becky hit her a couple times with the kendo stick, and Nia did get up. Jax, though, responded by smashing the steel steps into Lynch's face. Jax then missed a leg drop on the apron, and Lynch gave her a DDT on the steps. Nia actually did the whole spike herself deal and sold this very well. Again, Nia Jax has improved since her return. She's better than her first run.
Oh, yeah. She's been training a lot more.
Well, we've seen on her social media, she trains with Natty and TJ at their little deal with Apollo Crews and Liv Morgan and Moose and them over there. So even when she was gone from WWE, she was still, I don't know how regularly, but often enough training with Natty and them.
Well, even when she signed with WWE, I don't think she did anything on the indies.
No. She's like just like Roman. Never worked anywhere before WWE.
So yeah, maybe that was the reason. It was just lack of experience with her.
Maybe.
But I feel like now that she's been like actually like training, like when she left or when she got fired,
right,
that really helped her out.
So with Nia down, Becky goes and grabs a table and slides it in the ring. Jax then placed Lynch on the table. Oh no. So she slid the table into the ring, and then they went to a commercial break. When they come back, Jax placed Lynch on the table, which was on the outside of the ring, and began climbing. What did I write this weird? Oh, okay. Never mind. I did write this right. Okay. So Jax placed Lynch on a table outside the ring and began climbing a ladder, but Lynch rolled off the table and sprayed her with a fire extinguisher in the face. Lynch tried a spear through the table in the corner, and Jax caught her with a Samoan drop through the table. Jax didn't wait for the ref's count and instead hit an annihilator. Lynch then beat the count and rolled to the outside. Jackson set up for a Samoan drop off the apron, but Lynch fought out of it and hit a manhandle slam off the apron through the table. I thought she killed Nia freaking Jax. Jax got up at 9. Nia sold us like she was dead so well. So then we get just a phenomenal spot by Becky. Nia also did her job really well here, selling this and everything. So Becky sets up the ladder next to the announce table. And Jax gets to her feet, but she's all kinds of dazed and confused. And so she walks over towards the table. Becky's sitting on the ladder, and Nia kind of like leans over the table to catch her breath. And so Becky jumps off the table with a leg drop. They go crashing through the table. Nia's sitting there, or laying there actually, face first down on the ground. And the ref counts her out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Becky Lynch wins the last woman standing match. I thought this match way exceeded my expectations. I thought Nia looked way better than expected, and I think that I shouldn't be thinking so less of Nia now. That I say this all the time. Nia was better than I expected. It's like the third or fourth match in a row now that I've said that. So now I'm going to have higher expectations for Nia Jax. What'd you think?
Oh, yeah. Really, really good match here. And like, honestly, like I'm really gonna enjoy see what they do with Nia like after Mania,
or even at Mania. Maybe they do something with her and Jade because they teased it in the Rumble.
What if they did a match like that night, and they had Jade recreate like Hulk Hogan slam on Andre?
I could see it. That'd actually be a very interesting one for Jade.
But I mean, I think Jade's going to do something at Mania. She's going to do something.
Here's the thing with that. Jade slamming Nia, I don't think it would be as big of a moment because we've seen other people pick up and slam Nia before. Like, hasn't Rhea done it? Rhea did it in their match at Elimination Chamber, so.
Right, but
I get what you're saying.
Well, people thought it was really cool when she did it to her in the Rumble.
So speaking of,
I do think Jade's gonna do something at Mania, whether that's like a short match or maybe she sits in the crowd. But we'll see.
Yeah. Speaking of Rhea Ripley, Lynch gets in the ring to catch her breath and celebrate the win or whatever, I guess you could say. And out comes Rhea Ripley. The two have a stare down at the end of the show as we go off the air. Great little way to end the show with like, hey, great match there, but you still got me, don't forget. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thought that the whole main event was great and just a fun time.
Kid Vicious asks, "Do you think they'll ever bring back NXT takeovers?" I don't know.
No.
I don't think so. Because
The takeover is really just a name. Like, it's just whatever. It's just in a name. There's nothing to it.
right, and like, well, they kind of just stopped. They stopped doing it once like they created 2.0, and
Right,
like
but I'm just
2.0 has
saying.
been done for a while. But like,
But what I'm saying is, like, the shows aren't ran any different with or without the name takeover. They're still considered the same. You know.
right. Like, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Right. But
It was more of like a black and gold thing.
yes. But with that, the poll is now live on Twitch. If you guys are watching on Twitch, go over there and vote. Let me know what you guys thought while we refresh the other polls as well. Refresh, a refresh, and a refresh. As far as the Twitter poll does go, 78% liked the show, 15% thought it was just all right, and 6% didn't like it. Looking at the Threads poll, 92% liked the show, 8% thought it was just all right. Looking over at the YouTube, community poll. If I can stop hiccuping. 76% liked the show, 18% thought it was just all right, and 7% didn't like it. This person says, I loved it. Whole show tonight. This person says, loved it. This person says, I haven't seen it yet. Well, then why the hell are you commenting? This person says, 8 out of 10. This person says, I liked it. This person called it decent. And this person says, it was booty. Thumbs down. As far as the YouTube live poll does go, 81% liked the show, 16% thought it was just all right, and 4% didn't like it. Looking at Twitch, everybody that voted liked the show. With that, guys, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Luke, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me over at Twitter X at Petgy_21, and you can also find me over at Twitch at Young Grasshopper Luke.
Also, we're going to do a little inside baseball. Luke, Wednesday. Are you going to be on, yes or no, for AEW?
I don't know yet. I'll let you know.
Okay, so here's my question. Are we doing the full 3 hours? Because there's a Rampage live right after Dynamite as well.
We could. If I'm available for it, we could.
All right, because then it will just start the same time that the Monday show normally starts. So it's not like it's so much later. So just want the people to know, Wednesday, we're going to watch both Dynamite and Rampage, because literally they're airing in a full 3 hour block. We've got the 2 hour Dynamite that will be main evented, hopefully main evented by the I Quit match for the TNT title, and then whenever they put on Rampage. So we'll have both of those shows to talk about, since they're both airing back to back on the same night, one right after the other. There's basketball stuff, no Collision this week, so none of that to watch. But because of college basketball, Rampage was moved to a Wednesday. But with that, guys, we'll see you Wednesday. Have a good rest of your week.